Thank you for turning to page 121. Today we're going to dive into this beautiful box set, the Element Class Cruiser. We're going to take a look at one of the books in this set, and that is specifically, or the book in the set, the Naval Campaign Sourcebook. This is a really nice little tome. It runs about 50, call it 60 pages. It comes in the box set and is pretty neat. I'm gearing up to start an active duty traveler campaign where my characters will be running an Element Class vessel, and they will be the command crew, and as well as some of the middle crew, where we're going to be doing dual characters throughout this. But we'll be doing a session 0 very soon for this, and I thought I'd start thumbing through this book, and I thought, well, what the heck? I looked at the box set contents before, but I never looked at this book. So today we're going to go through the Naval Campaign Sourcebook and why I think it's going to be really valuable for my upcoming active duty campaign, and that'll be today on page 121. All right, let's take a look. This is from the Element Class Cruiser Shipbuilder's Blueprint set that was out in 2018 from Mongoose. This is a gorgeous set. I've shown what's inside before, but you get stack after stack of these blueprints of the Element Class Cruiser. I'm going to be using the Element Class Cruiser in my active military campaign. That will be the ship my player characters will be commanding. This is my guidebook, the Naval Command Sourcebook, or Naval Campaign Sourcebook. This was part of the box set, came out in 2018. This was a Kickstarter. I didn't get it on the Kickstarter. I bought this after the fact. And this really isn't a very good choice, in my opinion, of something to get on digital download, simply because the only book in there is this 60-page book. The rest of the set is the blueprints, so it's kind of hard to see the blueprints electronically. But here we go. We get the introduction, what exactly we're going to be looking at, and what we're going to be doing in this naval campaign, and then travelers in a naval campaign. And it states right away, travelers should be the decision makers. I can't agree with that more. The travelers in the campaign I'm going to be running are going to be the command crew, so captain and for officers. And then we got a little different way to create travelers. I took a look at this on the channel a few months ago. Slightly different way to create the travelers for this. I like this method since they're all active duty. There's no mustering out or anything like that. And then the basic training, I also covered some of that in that video. Running a naval campaign. Basically, you've got to decide what kind of campaign you're going to be running. Is this going to be a ship that's going to stay close to its home port? Maybe just show the flag in a couple of different areas near it, or is it going to be going off into the distance on its own? Especially with the Zodani attack starting the 5th Frontier War, I'm going to be focused on this ship being out and active against Zodani. I'm pretty excited about that. So I've chosen my campaign theme. My choices for campaign theme from the book are Distant Worlds, that's exploration, Warfighting, which is the one I'm going to be doing, Patrol and Diplomacy, which will also be some of what I'll be doing. Because not only do you have to fight the war, you have to go to different sectors or different systems that may or may not be friendly to the campaign, even if they're part of the Imperium. So you may have to make a few diplomatic visits to try to get people on board with what it is the Imperium is doing. Keeping the travelers hungry. You don't want to give them everything they want, because then they won't want more. The ship and crew as characters. Yes, I completely believe that the ship is a character, can be a character rather, as the Enterprise in the original Star Trek, the Battlestar Galactica in Battlestar Galactica, in the new version, new 20 years ago instead of the one from the 70s. But you give the character some ship quirks, or give the ship some ship quirks, and then your characters. There is a crew effectiveness index, which is kind of neat. You get a way to give, is your crew completely green? Are they veterans? Are they veterans who've worked together for a long time? You don't know. So this is a good way of finding it. Nice little index for you. I'm going to decide that primarily through the session 0 we're going to do. And then as part of the session 0, the beginning of the campaign, I'm going to decide the crew effectiveness through role play more than on a chart, but I may use the chart for some other lower down crew members. I haven't decided yet. And then you're subdividing the ship's company, which is going to be very important. Flight, gunnery, engineering crew, and others, such as medical specialists and Marines. And the department subdivision summary. I'm really going to be dog-earing this book for this. Detachments that weaken your ship's company, especially if you're in a faraway frontier. You may have to leave Marines behind for this reason or that reason, or crew members to bring a prize back. That lowers your overall effectiveness as a ship. The morale is hideously important. Morale on a ship is everything. You have to have people that want to follow the commanders, not just will follow, but you want them to follow. They want to follow. It's a very important part of it. You can have morale checks, leadership crisis, events affecting morale, deliberate action, hardship, injustice, liberty, severe danger, success, or weak leadership. Those all are important role-playing elements. And if my command crew does show weak leadership, I am going to reflect that in some of the morale. Now we have crewing the ship, how you're going to actually come up with your crew members and some incidents that might have happened to you along the way to create more interesting crew members, or to an NPC. Career advancement summary, major internal rewards and punishes, major rewards and public punishments. And then we get courts martial, very important. You have to maintain discipline in any kind of military, and there have to be consequences for bad decisions, and that's where courts martial come in. And then we get some awards. I did like this. I like seeing the awards that the Third Imperium would give out for this or that. Some of these appear in the Naval Handbook too, but I like these awards for gallantry, the Purple Heart, exemplary service, reward for a starboard for extreme heroism. I like that. Here's the campaign. Information and intelligence. What are you out there to do? Are you gathering intelligence? Do you have a spy master aboard your ship? Somebody who's in charge of intelligence being fed to the captain. You have campaign events or incidents that can happen, and then we get some nice charts for it. Supplies, spares, and stores. It can be very important to have your spares. You get some damage in an action, you need to be able to repair that. And then making repairs, obtaining supplies, going on the scrounge. That's where some of your streetwise or broker skills can come in. I would also say advocate or admin would also be pretty appropriate for scrounging. The mission. What kind of mission are you going to do? This is chapter 7. The mission start. It's going to be the big picture and all the stuff going down to the lowest guy. Do they understand what the mission is? Do they understand what's expected of them? If they're out of command for a moment, for whatever reason, do they know the policy of the mission? Very important. Inappropriate orders. When is an order not a legal order? Objectives and mission success indicator. Discretionary patrol options. Orders given by a Commodore to Captain Amadi. I'm not even going to try that Filani word. And there are his orders. I like that. There's a lot of nice flavor in this book for running it. It's not just tables and charts. There's some life with the medals and the orders. I like that kind of stuff. And then example of mission success criteria, missions and adventures that you can do, resolving the mission start, mission end, and then types of missions that you can go on, various incidents that can happen, mishaps. Mission events, the Admiral's inspection. All of a sudden the Admiral is there and he's got to take a look at the ship. That can be a big problem, depending on what the situation is with your morale and your crew. All these other different things that can happen. Supply shortage is a fun one. Resolving combat. Do you want to have your ship get crippled on a freak roll of the dice? Do you want to do it more through role-playing as you enter into actions? Those are decisions that are going to have to be made beforehand. I'm toying with an idea of when I bring this into combat, of actually running the combat myself for the probable outcome, and then either do that narratively or let them role play it and see where it lands with the dice when they actually play it. I'm of two minds on that right now. Effects of combat resolution. What happened? What happened to the ship? Was there damage? Do you have to go back to a starbase and get repairs? Can you continue your mission? All those questions must be answered. And then we get the appendix, alternatives and options. You can do the random approach, the non-player character captain. I have tried that where the captain was an NPC. It ends up that the game master is playing the game himself. The players get robbed of any agency very quickly because the game master, through the captain, is directing exactly where they go. That's not a successful way to run a campaign, in my opinion. I've not had any luck with it. Some people out there may have had great luck with it. I make one of the player characters the captain. We kind of caucus on ideas or big decisions, and then the captain, see the air quotes, announces the decision to me as the GM. Everybody has a voice in it, but we, as role playing, it's the captain that says it. It's important to give the players their say. Some pre-campaign considerations. Optional rule: crew fatigue. I do like crew fatigue. That's a very real thing. Your crew is on patrol for a long time, have been working long shifts because they're short-handed. Fatigue is a big deal. Star Trek does in the excellent episode Doomsday Machine, where the captain has lost his ship and he's taken over the Enterprise because Kirk is away. Commodore Decker loses his ship. Well, that's a perfect example, in my opinion, of fatigue. He's in shell shock. He can't function properly, so eventually he gets removed. Spoiler on a 50-year-old episode of Star Trek. And then we go to a fine index, which I always appreciate in a book like this. And then we get some forms. I also appreciate these. And then an ad for the Great Rift, another good way to run an active duty military campaign. I might look at that sometime down the line. But right now, my brain is running to Fifth Frontier War, so it is staying focused on the Naval campaign sourcebook and the Fifth Frontier War offerings that are current from Mongoose, and of course some of my old stuff. But that's all I've got to say today on page 121. I want to thank you for your time. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think if you're going to run an active duty military campaign. And if so, what are you going to use? You're going to do Marines? You're going to do Scouts? Scouts can play a big role in an active duty military campaign. It's all up to you. But that's all I've got today on page 121. I want to thank you for your time. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you would. And I'll see you next time.